You are watching everyone else's life and losing your own right now. This moment. You know exactly what I mean. You check their updates, their progress, their highlights, and somewhere in that scrolling, in that watching, in that comparing, you forget. You forget that your own life is sitting there, waiting, untouched, while you waste your attention on people who are not even thinking about you. Be honest. How much of your energy today went toward yourself, and how much went toward everyone else? Their opinions, their lives, their judgment of you. That imbalance, that silent, daily theft of your own attention. That is why nothing in your life is moving. That is why you feel stuck. That is why the version of yourself you keep promising to become never arrives. Today that changes, or it doesn't. That choice, as always, is entirely yours. This video is not about cutting people off. It is not about becoming cold or arrogant or disconnected. It is about something far more important than any of that. It is about you, finally, completely, unapologetically. You. The world will never stop demanding your attention. People will never stop having opinions about your life. Noise will never disappear. But the people who win, the ones who actually build something real, something lasting, something worth having, they learn one thing that most people never do. They learn to focus, not on the world, not on the noise, not on what people think or say or expect, on themselves, on their work, on their growth, on the quiet, unglamorous, daily process of becoming someone worth becoming. That is what this video is about. And if you stay with me, really stay, really listen, something is going to shift in you today. Let's talk about where your focus actually goes every single day. You wake up, and before you have had a single thought about your own life, your goals, your growth, your future, you are already inside someone else's world. Their posts, their stories, their wins, their drama. You are consuming other people's lives before you have even begun living your own. Think about that. The first moments of your day, the most powerful moments, when your mind is fresh and clear and open. You are filling them with everyone except yourself, and it does not stop there. Throughout the day, in every quiet moment, every gap, every second of stillness, you reach for it. The phone, the scroll, the endless addictive loop of other people's content. And with every scroll, your own life moves further into the background. Your own dreams get quieter. Your own voice gets harder to hear. Be honest. When was the last time you sat in silence, real silence, and just thought about your own life? Your own direction? Your own goals? Not what others are doing. Not what others think of you. Just you and where you are going. For most people, that answer is painful because most people cannot remember. Because most people have not done that in so long that the very idea of sitting alone with their own thoughts feels uncomfortable, foreign, almost frightening. And that is the problem right there. That discomfort with your own inner world. That inability to sit with yourself without reaching for distraction. That is what is keeping you stuck. Here is what nobody tells you about losing focus on yourself. It does not happen dramatically. It does not happen in one big moment where you consciously decide to abandon your own life. It happens slowly, quietly, one small distraction at a time, one comparison at a time, one moment of caring too much about someone else's opinion at a time. You start changing how you dress, not for yourself, but for what others might think. You start choosing paths, not because they excite you, but because they look impressive to people watching. You start measuring your progress, not against your own potential, but against what others have achieved. You start living not your life, but a performance of a life designed for an audience that is not even paying attention. Feel that. Really feel how deeply that has infected the way you move through the world. You have been performing for years, maybe. Performing confidence you do not feel. Performing happiness you do not have. Performing a version of yourself, carefully constructed to earn approval from people whose approval changes nothing about the quality of your actual life. And while you were performing, your real life was waiting. Your real potential was waiting. The actual, unperformed, unfiltered version of yourself that is capable of so much more than this. Waiting, quietly, patiently, getting a little more distant with every day you chose the audience over yourself. Stop lying to yourself. You know this is true. You have felt it, that hollow feeling after you post something and obsessively check how many people responded. That deflation when the validation does not come. That exhausting, endless cycle of seeking approval from outside when the only approval that has ever mattered, the only approval that actually changes anything, is your own. Let me show you what focusing on yourself actually costs you when you refuse to do it. Every hour you spend consuming other people's lives is an hour not spent building your own. Every unit of mental energy you give to what others think of you is energy stolen from what you could be creating. Every comparison that makes you feel behind, inadequate, less than, that is not information. That is poison, and you are drinking it voluntarily, daily. In massive doses, the person you follow online, who seems to have everything you want, do you think they built that by watching other people? Do you think they built that by caring what everyone thought? Do you think they built that by living for an audience? No. They built it in the hours nobody saw, in the silence, in the focus, in the 1,000 unglamorous days of working on themselves, when it would have been easier, so much easier, to scroll, to compare, to perform, to seek validation. That silence, that focused, intentional, self-directed silence is the thing you have been avoiding, and it is the only thing that leads anywhere worth going. Think about that. The very thing you are running from, the silence, the solitude, the uncomfortable confrontation with your own life, is the exact thing that builds the people you admire. You already know this. Somewhere deep, underneath all the noise and the scrolling and the performing, you already know this. The question is whether you are finally ready to act like it, because in part 2, we go deeper. We talk about why your mind fights so hard against focus, why silence feels like a threat, why you have been unconsciously choosing distraction over growth, and the exact psychological mechanism that keeps you trapped in a life smaller than the one you are capable of. Stay with me. You know what your problem actually is? You are not confused. You are not lost. You are not missing information. You know exactly what you need to do. Wake up earlier. Work harder. Stop scrolling. Stop caring what people think. Focus on yourself. You have known this for months, maybe years, and still nothing changes. That is not a knowledge problem. That is a focus problem. And the reason you cannot fix your focus is because something inside you is actively, constantly working against it. Your own mind is fighting you every single day. And until you understand exactly how and exactly why, you will keep losing that fight. Here is what is happening inside your brain. Every time you pick up your phone and scroll, your brain gets a reward, small, instant, effortless, a tiny hit of dopamine that feels good for a few seconds and leaves you wanting more. And your brain, which is designed to seek reward and avoid discomfort, learns very quickly. It learns that scrolling equals pleasure. It learns that deep focus equals discomfort. And so it steers you quietly, automatically, without you even noticing, toward the phone and away from the work. This is not weakness. This is biology. But here is the truth. Biology is not destiny. Your brain can be retrained. Your focus can be rebuilt, but only if you first understand what you are actually fighting against. You are not fighting laziness. You are not fighting lack of motivation. You are fighting a brain that has been conditioned by months and years of instant gratification to avoid anything that requires sustained effort. Think about that. Every time you chose scrolling over working, you were training your brain. Every time you chose distraction over silence, you were training your brain. Every time you checked your phone instead of sitting with your own thoughts, you were training your brain to need constant stimulation just to feel normal. And now, when you try to focus, your brain rebels. It gets restless. It gets uncomfortable. It screams for input, for stimulation, for anything except the quiet, sustained, difficult work of building something real. That is why focus feels impossible. Not because you are broken, because you trained yourself out of it. Let's talk about what is really stealing your focus. And I do not just mean your phone. I mean the opinions, the voices, the constant, low-grade noise of other people's expectations living inside your head, rent-free. Your family's idea of what your life should look like. Your friend's judgment of your choices. The stranger on the internet who commented something that you are still thinking about 3 days later. You are carrying all of that, all of it. And it is heavy, and it is loud, and it is taking up space. mental space, emotional space, creative space that belongs to your own life, your own vision, your own direction. Be honest. How many decisions have you made in the last year based on what others would think, rather than what you actually wanted? How many times have you shrunk yourself, your ambitions, your ideas, your dreams, to fit inside someone else's comfort zone? That shrinking, that constant exhausting adjustment of yourself to manage other people's reactions, that is not humility, that is self-abandonment, and it is costing you everything. Every hour you spend managing other people's opinions is an hour you are not spending on your own growth. Every unit of energy you give to seeking validation is energy stolen from building something real. Every moment you perform for an audience, you are betraying the person you are supposed to become. Stop lying to yourself about how much this is affecting you. Here is the deepest thing I want you to understand in this entire video. You do not have a focus problem. You have an identity problem. Right now, deep down, underneath all the plans and the intentions and the motivation, you do not fully believe that you are the kind of person who focuses on themselves. You do not fully believe that your goals are worth protecting. You do not fully believe that your silence, your refusal to perform, to seek approval, to explain yourself, is powerful rather than weak. And because you do not believe it, you do not live it. This is how identity works. Your brain will always act in alignment with who it believes you are. Always. You can fight it with willpower for a few days, but eventually the identity wins. The behavior snaps back to match the belief. So the question is not, how do I become more focused? The question is, who do I need to become for focus to be natural? Who do I need to see myself as for protecting my energy to feel automatic, for staying silent to feel powerful, for working on myself without needing anyone to see it or validate it to feel like enough? That identity shift, that quiet, internal decision about who you are, is what changes everything. Not a new routine, not a new app, not a new motivational video. A decision about who you are, made in private, kept in private, proven in private, one focused day at a time. Feel that, because that is what the people who actually change their lives do differently. They do not just change their habits. They change their story. They stop being the person who gets distracted and start being the person who protects their focus like it is the most valuable thing they own. Because it is. Your focus is your future, made tangible, made real, made possible. Where your attention goes, your life grows. And right now, your attention is everywhere except where it needs to be. Because in part 3, we talk about exactly what to do. Not theory, not inspiration. A real, specific, daily system for becoming someone who focuses on themselves so completely, so ruthlessly, that their life has no choice but to change. You are still here. Good. Because everything up until this point was the mirror. The uncomfortable, honest, unflinching mirror. And if you are still watching, it means something in you is ready. Not comfortable, not confident, just ready. And ready is enough. Now we build. Let's talk about what focusing on yourself actually looks like in real life. Not in theory, not in a perfect world where you have unlimited time and zero obligations. In your actual life, your actual day, with your actual distractions and your actual habits and your actual mind that has been trained to resist exactly this. First thing, and this is non-negotiable, you stop explaining yourself to everyone, your family, your friends, the people online, the ones who question your choices, your silence, your direction. You stop justifying. You stop defending. You stop seeking their understanding before you take a step forward in your own life. This is harder than it sounds, because somewhere along the way, you were taught that you owe people an explanation, that your choices require approval, that moving in silence, without announcing, without explaining, without performing, is somehow arrogant or secretive or wrong. It is not. It is the most powerful thing you can do. The moment you stop spending energy explaining yourself to people who were never going to understand. Anyway, that energy comes back to you, and you use it on your work, on your growth, on the quiet, unglamorous daily process of becoming someone worth becoming. Be honest. How much energy have you wasted this week alone, explaining yourself to people who did not need the explanation, defending choices that needed no defense, seeking understanding from people who were never going to give it? That stops now. Here is your daily system. Simple, specific, non-negotiable. You wake up, and the first hour belongs to you. Only you. No phone, no social media, no other people's noise. You sit with yourself. You move your body. You remind yourself, quietly, privately, without performance, what you are building and why it matters. You prime your mind before the world gets to it. Then you work on the one thing that matters most. Not the easiest thing, not the most comfortable thing, the thing that actually moves your life forward. You protect that work like it is sacred, because it is. It is the physical proof that you are serious about your own life. During the day, you guard your energy. Every time you feel the pull to check what others are doing, to seek validation, to explain yourself, to perform, you pause. You ask one question. Is this moving my life forward, or is this stealing from it? And then you choose accordingly. At night, 5 minutes, just 5. You ask yourself 3 questions. Did I focus on myself today? Did I protect my energy? Did I work on what matters? Honest answers. No performance, no justification, just truth. And then you plan tomorrow. So you wake up with direction instead of drift. That is the system. Simple enough to actually follow. Powerful enough to actually change you. Now, here is the mindset that holds all of this together. Silence is not weakness. Let me say that again, because most people have been taught the opposite their entire lives. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It is power. It is the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who does not need the world to validate what they already know about themselves. The people who change their lives, they go quiet before they go big. They disappear into their work. They stop announcing and start building. They stop performing and start becoming. And then one day, without drama, without announcement, without explanation, they arrive, changed, unrecognizable, built in the silence that everyone else was too afraid to sit in. That silence is available to you right now, today, but you have to choose it actively, repeatedly, every time the noise pulls at you, every time the urge to check, to compare, to seek approval rises up. You have to choose the silence instead. Not because it is easy, because it is yours. Because your life, your real life, the one you actually want, is being built in that silence. And here is what happens when you finally commit to that silence. When you finally, truly, completely focus on yourself, your energy changes. The people around you feel it. Your work changes. The quality of your attention changes. The quality of your decisions changes. The quality of your life changes. Not because the world changed, because you changed. Because you stopped giving the world what it was never supposed to have. Your focus, your energy, your attention, and you gave it back to yourself where it always belonged. You already know this. You have always known this. The version of you that is focused, silent, building, that version already exists inside you. It has been waiting quietly, patiently for you to finally choose it over the noise. I want you to imagine something 90 days from now. Same life, same people, same world, but a different you moving through all of it. A you that wakes up with intention. A you that works in silence. A you that has stopped explaining, stopped performing, stopped seeking, and started building, started focusing, started becoming. What does that person's life look like? What does that person feel when they lie down at night, knowing they gave the day to themselves instead of to the noise? What is the difference between that person's relationship with themselves and yours right now? That person is not a fantasy. That person is the direct, inevitable result of one decision made today, kept tomorrow, proven every single day after that. The decision to focus on yourself completely, ruthlessly, without apology. The only question left, the only question that has ever mattered, is whether you are going to make that decision, or whether you are going to close this video, feel the familiar rush of almost changing, and return to the noise. Both are available to you. Only one leads somewhere worth going. So here is your moment, not tomorrow. Not after one more scroll. Not after you check what everyone else is doing. Right now, make one decision. One. That, starting tomorrow, your first hour belongs to you. No phone, no noise, no one else, just you, and the life you are finally, seriously, done neglecting. And if you are ready, if you are genuinely done watching your life from the sidelines while you watch everyone else's, comment one word below. Focused, not for anyone else. for yourself, because that word, typed in this moment, is the beginning of a promise you are making to the only person who has ever truly mattered in this equation. You now go. Be silent, focus, and watch everything change.